Hello, and welcome everyone. Let me just quickly figure out some camera settings here. In the meanwhile, it would be lovely if any of you guys will be able to let me know whether you can hear me all right. Can you guys hear me all right? If you do, please give me a little shout out in the chat. If you can hear me okay, that'd be fantastic. Thank you very much for letting me know if the microphones are hopefully collectively working together here in its connection. So quickly jump into the chat, and I will also do that. I will have a little link for you guys in there that you can use later on for the whole time. Let me see if is that the right one? Yeah, I'll click on that link. Yeah, it's the right link. So this one, I will pin it as well. So for all the people who join the live stream and who watch the stuff, can go to the resources. If you want to help me quickly, just let me know very quickly if you can hear me. That would be fantastic. So I'm not talking for nothing. I think it should work. The microphone icon is there, but just to be safe, if you guys can let me know if you can hear me, that'd be fantastic. Otherwise, we will have about half an hour, depending on how many questions are here. Again, I said, okay, Mark can hear me, perfect. I said it last week already. We will see how we progress with the lives. I couldn't stop myself from saying, okay, I'm going to do another live this week. But eventually, I know that it is a difficult time for everyone to follow these lives. But if the lives are just not the content that is most consumed in this channel, the videos seem to be a lot more popular. Then maybe it's not the format for this channel. We'll see. But for those who are in the live stream today, you can of course put all your questions in here. I'll be answering your questions one by one. Also, it's not burning in my room here, right? I don't know where this dusty image is coming from. Let me just quickly see whether it is my camera. Is it better now? Let's see. Not really. Still. Hey, Marius. Good to see you. Still a little bit dusty. Not sure what that is. It's not burning in my room, so fine. We're okay. It's not burning, and I have a fire detector up there as well, so it's all right. Perfect. So I'm guessing that you guys can hear me well now. Mark said he can hear me well. If you guys have questions, then please put them into the chat. Otherwise, I want to talk to you guys about something today that's very important to me. I want to talk to you about what you can expect from habituation. It's something that I've been going through a lot with the club members as well, which I'll be talking about later on. I'll quickly reintroduce myself. My name is Frida. I'm a tinnitus coach. I was born deaf in my left ear, and I have a hearing aid and a severe high-pitched tinnitus on my remaining right ear for 15 years. Thank you, Harley, for letting me know. I founded my tinnitus coaching business in 2019, which is 6 years ago, and I created a big tinnitus podcast, which some of you might have listened to, the 100th episode with Dan Schweitzer. And here we are now. I'm also the founder of mytinnitus.club, our online tinnitus community, where we help people to habituate in a group setting with many other people who lift each other up, weekly group sessions, and helping people to habituate to tinnitus, to go from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus. And that's my passion and profession, and also my purpose for doing these lives here on YouTube, to try and help as many of you guys as possible to get better with your tinnitus, and to really claim the quality of life back that you deserve and that we all want, because of course we don't want to be continuously struggling with tinnitus. And why it is so important to have the right idea about habituation. I believe if you have the wrong assumption about habituation, then maybe you get stuck in pursuing something that will be very difficult to achieve, if you know what I mean. And in the meantime, you'll forget to live and to do the things that really matter to you and that are important to you, in order to, really signal to your brain that you're willing to continue. And then habituation is speeding itself up even further, right? It's a little bit like when you're learning how to drive a car, then it's very, very difficult to drive the car. But when you're getting better at driving the car, then it gets easier and easier and easier, right? The more you practice, the better it gets. And it's similar with habituation. Tinnitus being something that your brain needs to get used to, right? Your brain needs to learn to not see tinnitus as a constant threat and intruder. And habituation is very similar to that, right? So when you learn to drive a car, then it is very, very normal that at the start, you can't go to a racetrack, right? You shouldn't be expecting to go to a racetrack when you haven't driven a car before. So the same thing is true, like if you're absolutely like in a deep down below because of your tinnitus, then it's very normal that you won't be habituated in a week or two, right? And why is it so important? It's so important to realize what habituation actually will be like, and that's why we're talking about it today. Because otherwise you might get stuck on the wrong idea. For example, the idea that when you habituate, your tinnitus is gone forever and will never come back, and you won't even be able to ever hear it again, which is, yeah, I mean, it's a nice assumption. And to be honest, I'm telling you, my goal or my view of habituation is to have tinnitus, but to not be bothered by it at all, right? So that is my goal. But not being bothered by it, not even a little bit, is not the same as never hearing it. I mean, if I pause and I listen to it, then I can very clearly hear my tinnitus, right? If I go outside, I can go to a 4-lane street and I can still hear my tinnitus, right? Emma, I'm going to get into your question in a bit. I just want to set the scene a little bit, and then everyone else, I'm happy to answer all your questions as well. Okay. Because it is quite important to know what you're expecting in order to know where you want to go. And if you're expecting too much from habituation, then that's detrimental to the state of your nervous system being in, right? Because when you always think, only when I cannot hear my tinnitus never again, can I be fully habituated, and then my nervous system will ground itself and I'll be more relaxed. The thing is, habituation comes in when you learn to be relaxed despite the presence of tinnitus. Because your nervous system learns that it doesn't have to respond with constant fight or flight to your tinnitus, which exacerbates the amount to which you are habituated, and vice versa, right? So it's, again, as I said, like when you cannot swim, it's super difficult to start to learn to swim. But when you can swim a little bit, then it is much easier to, always get better at your technique and style. I mean, eventually you'll hit a plateau as well. And with tinnitus habituation as well, eventually you'll hit a plateau where you're like stuck maybe for a couple of weeks or sometimes even months, right? We have that in the community as well. Sometimes people get stuck a little bit. That's absolutely normal. But you once you get out of that and you learn what you can expect from habituation, you'll be in a completely different place to also say, all right, if this is what habituation is going to be like, and if it depends a lot about how I behave towards my tinnitus, then I can actually be the person that will determine if my habituation will actually be quicker or if it's happening less quick, right? And what my circumstances are. So I will get into Emma's question, and after getting into Emma's question, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what I think habituation feels like for each and every single one of you, and what it felt like for me at the start. So when I first got tinnitus when I was 19, then later on when it got significantly worse 5 years later, so that's about 10 years now, 10 years ago now, 15 years in total, 10 years ago it got significantly worse. And then share a little bit about what habituation I think feels for me in that regards as well. Emma says, my spikes seem to occur with more sound exposure, so I end up shielding my damaged ear. I'm fine. I'm avoiding lots of things I used to enjoy and fear spikes. How do I negotiate this? Yeah, very normal. So I think I would never be radical, right? In the last live, I said, if you have severe anxiety of flying, then don't sit down in a plane and fly to Australia. But, do like little steps. And you can ask yourself, is it actually true that I cannot do these things anymore that I used to enjoy because my tinnitus might spike? I mean, your tinnitus also might spike by doing things that you don't particularly enjoy, and it might just happen, right? If you currently have very reactive tinnitus, and it's psychological and physiological. On the one hand, you are quite afraid that your tinnitus might get worse with certain exposure, right? And that makes you more anxious. So when you do expect the exposure, then your nervous system is ramping up anyways, and you don't even know whether your tinnitus is really ramping up, you are paying more attention to it, or your nervous system being more in fight or flight, and that's why the tinnitus is ramping up. So it's like it might also be the connection of, really wanting to do these things but feeling that you can't do them because of your tinnitus. And when you have that thought, then of course your anxiety or your feelings towards, oh man, my tinnitus, like, what do you think is better for habituation? Thinking like, oh, I can't do these things that I really love doing anymore because of my tinnitus, or thinking, oh yeah, maybe I'm really anxious about these things that I want to do because I really love doing these things because they're important to me, but I feel like when I do them, the stakes are so high. If I can't bear my tinnitus being there while that happens, right, then it's going to be super difficult, and I'm going to be extremely suffering, and then I'm going to have the anxiety spike even more, and then my tinnitus is going to be unbearable. So you see where I'm going with this. Please interrupt me if you didn't understand what I meant with it. But what I mean with it is that the sheer fact that you have a lot of anxiety over doing these things that you used to love to do is showing us that you really like doing these things, right? And your current state in which your fight or flight is simply always kicking in with your tinnitus means that you're constantly, of course, thinking and weighing your options of how bad would your tinnitus probably get if you were to do this thing right now, right? So this is a classic thing that we see in people with tinnitus, where the only way to do this is slight exposure, right? Very slight exposure. So what are the circumstances if we say, for example, we have a month of self-compassion that we did last year in the club? I can show you guys later. So in this month of self-compassion, there are a lot of workshops and resources, which from my perspective would be, well, you probably, if it's cycling that you really miss, then you don't go out and cycle 100 kilometers, right? You go out and maybe don't dress up in your big cycling gear and stuff, but you only go out and you go cycling for 20 minutes, right? Not in cycling gear, nothing formal, just so you feel comfortable, right? So I would say, like, what are the smallest possible things that you feel like you can do right now? Because right now, when you're in this big psychophysiological fight or flight thing towards your tinnitus, you don't need to make your anxiety worse. What you need to be doing is to find the smallest little thing and to be attentive. I know it is really unfair to feel that way. And I know it feels really unfair to be feeling that way when you want to do things that you love. I 100% get it. But you have to tailor to the fact that right now, your nervous system is quite alert and quite sensitive. So you have to see, okay, what is the smallest thing that I can do in order to be closer to achieving that goal again and to be doing what I want to be doing, right? Because when you are doing that thing you want to do and you're enjoying it, then you can teach your brain that you can absolutely still do it. I fully believe in it. Often I get people, like, they say, oh man, I love to read, but now since I have tinnitus, like, I can't sit down and read properly anymore. It's just impossible for me. And I say, well, the thing is, like, you sit down and you read for 30 seconds and you say, oh, my tinnitus is super loud, I can't read, can't do it. But you don't give yourself the chance for another 30 seconds and another 30 seconds and another 30 seconds, right? When I pick up a book and I read, the first 30 seconds, I might still be so in my work and everything. I might be so distracted that I'm thinking like, oh, I can't concentrate right now, right? Might not be the tinnitus at all, but might be like, oh, I can't concentrate. So it takes a time to get involved in your book again and to be like, sort of like drawn in. And B, you don't give yourself the chance of experiencing that eventually tinnitus vanishes from your awareness and you're concentrating on the book. And the more you do that, the more you disconfirm the belief that you said, I can't read a book when I'm having tinnitus, right? And it's definitely not in learning that you can read a book when every time you read a book and you close it up, you read 20 seconds and you're like, no, I can't do it. It's impossible, like it's too terrible, right? That's not the way to do it, because that is negative reinforcing. That is against habituation. That's going to go against everything that you're learning and everything that you're trying to teach your brain, that in fact your tinnitus is something that can be there. It's a benign body sensation to which your nervous system has a conditioned response to that's very uncomfortable. Totally get it. Absolutely. So Emma, I would go really slow, and whatever it is that you are avoiding and that you seemingly can't do at the moment, I would, like, maybe for a couple of those things, do a very self-compassionate plan of saying like, okay, I'll go very slow, go very little, and we'll sort that out. Yeah, and that's pretty much what we do in the club every 2 weeks with accountability check-in. And this month we're doing tinnitus and finding joy. So tomorrow we're kicking off the meeting, tinnitus and finding joy, and why finding joy is so important in the habituation process, and why it can help your brain and also your neuroplastic ability of the brain to rewire itself and to respond differently to your tinnitus. So this month we're doing February. It's all about finding joy despite the presence of tinnitus, where people and their buddies. So I've shared this on the channel before. Last month we paired everyone with a buddy inside mytinnitus.club, and this month it's all about finding joy together with your buddy and in the small things despite the presence of your tinnitus. So I hope this was helpful, Emma. Please remind me, guys, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and you will also find a link pinned here in the chat that when you click on is my Linktree link with the free tea course, the Digital Relief Starter Kit. I can show you that later a little bit if you guys want, and a little bit inside mytinnitus.club if you're not inside yet, because I know that a lot of the people who watch the live stream are also inside the club. Yeah, but I wanted to go on to talk about what habituation feels like. What does habituation feel like? So, in my opinion, at first, when you're not habituated, it feels like, of course, very dark. It's very difficult to not be paying attention, and every time you do pay attention, like for me, it was like someone ripped my heart out of the middle of my stomach. That's a little bit what it felt like. Every time this like sinking stomach when you tune into your tinnitus again. That's what it felt like back then, I remember. Especially when it got worse the second time. That's what it felt like the sinking stomach feeling all the time, over and over again. Every time you hear it 24/7, right? Because you're always in this fight or flight. And that was just, yeah, I remember that. That was terrible. So I absolutely do relate to all of that, guys. But now I can tell you the opposite of what habituation feels like. And then we need to bridge the gap, right? So the opposite of what habituation actually feels like is, and I mean this honestly, I mean almost 99%, almost not caring about tinnitus anymore. Like living your life like if you didn't have tinnitus. No, not entirely, because of course, like when you go to a bar or a club or a restaurant and it's really loud, to just, be a little bit more conscious of protecting your hearing. But other than that, honestly, guys, I'm not doing much that I wouldn't do without tinnitus either. So it is very, very, very important that you know and that you don't lose the hope that it can get 100% better. 100% better to the extent that you don't have any negative associated emotions or feelings with your tinnitus anymore, right? And this is really what I'm telling you. Like habituation is being 100% better with your tinnitus. Like it 100% is my belief that once you are habituated, you say like, oh yeah, tinnitus, yeah, I have that, but I couldn't care less, right? And that is also what it feels like. And when it feels like that, and that's a little bit of the self-fulfilling prophecy and the crux about habituation, it's a little bit like when you know how to swim, then you don't need to learn it anymore. When you know how to drive a car, then you know how to drive a car, then you don't need to learn it anymore. But when you're not habituated, it's incredibly difficult. It's like telling someone how to swim and throw them into a lake and say, oh, you just learn it like that. They will drown, right? So they need guidance. They need to be shown like, okay, what do I need to do? What are the next steps for me in my habituation journey in order to understand what can I do in order to get my brain from, always latching onto tinnitus, always being severely reactive and being, stuck with this over and over again in the same fight or flight, and towards the opposite of saying like, okay, here's tinnitus, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't influence my day to day. It doesn't keep me from doing the things that I love. I can still do anything that I want, even despite my tinnitus. Well, I mean, yes, being a little bit more careful with protecting my hearing, etc. But honestly, that's like one of the biggest things, right? If I can do that, and I can show my brain that I'm completely free of having to build my life around tinnitus, of having to watch my diet constantly, having to postpone family and friend gatherings and stuff like that because of my tinnitus, then obviously I'm still in the grip of my tinnitus, and that is obviously something where my brain tries to find a solution, trying to find a way to get rid of the pain that tinnitus produces in us. And then we find ourselves masking 24/7. We find ourselves looking for herbal remedies. We spend thousands of dollars in hearing aids and maskers, etc. And all the while, the problem is not really with the masking or the presence of the tinnitus, but the way we feel about it. You guys know that, for example, in chronic pain, there's been a lot of research suggesting now that chronic pain and tinnitus are very much linked. And in chronic pain, for example, chronic back pain, they have done functional MRIs of people who had absolutely no problem in their back, but they had chronic back pain, always. And the brain was always reacting to the pain, making it worse. The brain thinking, oh, here's the pain, dialing up the fight or flight. Pain and tension gets worse. But on the MRI, there's nothing visible. And then they've done MRIs with people who had absolutely effed up backs, but they didn't have any pain. So where do we draw the line? And we see now in modern day hospitals, they don't do surgery as much on spines anymore. Why? Because they know, well, what the functional MRI says about the spine and the chronic pain that's involved in this doesn't really say much on whether they really have a damaged spine or not in most cases. Yeah. And it's the same with tinnitus and habituation. It doesn't really say much what your tinnitus loudness or your perception or your intensity or your hearing loss is. It is down to the fact how your brain responds to this and how much this fight or flight is triggered. And oh yeah, very classy. Nice. Look, I'm always editing here on my computer and on my desk, and now my nice woolen pullover that my mom's always giving me for Christmas. This one's already like 4 or 5 years old, but I love this one. So warm, and it's still really cold out here in Berlin. Yeah, very classy. All right, next time I'm going to dress up more for the live stream. Okay, sorry guys. And no, what I wanted to say is really important. It is not in running away from tinnitus. It is not in masking it a little bit more. It is not in changing your diet or whatnot. I mean, of course, if you have a bad diet, then I mean, so be it. You should change it. Or if you never do any sports, you could do a little bit of sports and start very slowly, right, to get back into a good and healthy habit. If you have a lot of stress, then you might want to look at that and change that as well in your life. I mean, some stress is unavoidable, but there are ways of dealing with stress and managing stress. And we talked in a couple of lives before, we talked about stress management. So I do believe now the big question is, how do we get from being completely bothered by tinnitus, being in this constant hooked state with fight or flight, to being fully habituated, not caring less about our tinnitus? It is in showing our body and our brain, our conscious and subconscious brain, that it has nothing to worry about from the thoughts and feelings that we have about tinnitus. Because, and I explain this constantly, but it's important. There's a certain thoughts you have about your tinnitus, and that thought that you have in your brain makes you feel a certain way, right? Physiological reaction in your body, right? So the thought, my tinnitus is terrible, I can't deal with it, is going to make you feel a certain way in your body. It's going to make you feel powerless. It's going to make you feel angry. It's going to make you feel like you can't cope. It's going to make you feel like your life is ruined. All these kind of things, right? So this thought, my tinnitus is terrible, can't cope with it, is going to make a certain feeling in your body, right? It's anxiety, and it can be anything, right? And you feel this feeling. And what does your brain do? Well, your brain says, well, this feeling is there because of the sound that I'm experiencing, right? So there you have the circle closing, and then the anxiety is being dialed up because this is, oh yes, this thing, is it still there? Yes, still there. All right, let's crank it up even more. So of course, sound therapy can help on a short-term basis because you avoid the thoughts and feelings related to your tinnitus, right? Because you don't have to listen to it anymore. You listen to something else. And I'm not saying you should completely leave out sound therapy and you should never do it again. I'm not saying that. By the way, I'm going to sit down now. because I'm standing the whole time. And now it's time to sit again, otherwise I'm getting too tired. Yeah, good old burnout, taking care of myself, right? Not standing for so long, otherwise I'm also getting tired, right? So it is important then that we learn to understand how our thoughts, physiological emotions, and our tinnitus are connected. And there is a few circumstances, there's a few things that can and should come together. I've talked extensively about neuroplasticity. I've talked about self-compassion. I've talked about how to improve your sleep. I've talked about how to manage stress properly. And I know that it all seems like it's a never-ending story, and I could make probably videos for the next 100 years here on YouTube, and I could take this live stream for the next 80 hours and still be having stuff to talk about. That's my nature. I don't mind talking, and I hope that it's helpful. And yet, the important thing, and the most important thing that you need to understand, in my opinion, is this. That's why I founded mytinnitus.club. That's why I do my coaching, the one-on-one coaching, and that's why I do mytinnitus.club, in order to give everyone a guided strategy, right? To give you guys an approach where all of what I'm talking about, because yes, probably you will find similar resources if you watch all my maybe 200 videos that I have here on YouTube. If you watch all those YouTube videos and listen to all my podcasts, yeah, then you might be advancing quite well, but you're missing two crucial things. You're missing the connection with other people, being able to intimately discuss everything that you're going through and the whole program and everything with people who exactly get it, understand it, and who are there where you are. And you miss the opportunity to, get everything like fed to you in a structured and guided way. And I think this is really important. And the final thing that I can say about a habituation journey is it's always individual. And no two people are the same, in my opinion. There are very similar tinnitus journeys, absolutely. I know that. There are very similar journeys that people have in their tinnitus journey, but they're absolutely never always exactly the same. And I'm saying it now, and I've said it a lot of times. If you've seen one person with tinnitus, you've seen one person with tinnitus. And tinnitus is so individual that it's also very individual what one person needs and how they react to certain things. And therefore, I think what I have wanted to create with mytinnitus.club is something where everyone can find an insane variety of tools for them, and then to combine them together with other people. Not only me, I don't, I've had this German saying that I said in the club a couple of weeks back as well. I haven't eaten the wisdom with a spoon. So that's a German saying. Ich habe die Weisheit nicht mit Löffeln gefressen. So I didn't eat wisdom with a spoon, so I don't know all the answers, but I have a good idea of working together with people of what helps everyone. And that's also what I'm doing as a coach. My one-on-one coaching is not me telling you what to do and how to habituate. It's us sitting together, talking about your current situation, your strategy, and very, very, very likely we'll find out and build a habituation strategy tailored individually to you, right? So that's what my coaching is about. And the club is all of that together with all those other people in weekly group coaching sessions. For example, tomorrow, starting with tinnitus and finding joy, and why it is so helpful and useful to find joy despite the presence of your tinnitus, and how you can do that. So I really want to emphasize, like, I don't believe in also those people who always say like, I've had exactly the right strategy for your tinnitus. And I have a few strategies, and I'm willing to try out all of them with every single person that I'm working with. And I've barely had anyone who nothing has worked for. And most of the people always get better if talking or coaching or being in the club, right? That's something that I'm very proud of. And I want to just show you very quickly. Bum, 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 bum. Sharing my screen. No, I said I was never going to sing again, but that applied to the community. Here on YouTube, I'm probably still allowed to sing if I want to. I want to show you guys what we have come up tomorrow is the Finding Joy, the Small Wins Challenge. So tomorrow we're doing Finding Joy, and this is among the Small Wins Challenge that we launched in January. So inside the Small Wins Challenge, we did the buddy system as well. And now we're also doing Finding Joy. And why does Finding Joy help you habituate? Well, it makes tinnitus become less important because when we regularly experience joy, our nervous system shifts away from fight or flight. Tinnitus starts to take up less mental space, and our brain is busy engaging with life to obsess over it. Joy creates balance, and it will show you that your life and all the things that bring you joy are still there, and you can still enjoy them despite tinnitus, which will tell your brain that tinnitus isn't that bad and not as dangerous. And your attention will shift away from tinnitus, not you needing to distract yourself with certain things like sound therapy or, like really making yourself busy and stuff like that, but really doing it slowly, right? So what do we say? Say start small, right? Enjoy your morning coffee, feel the warmth of the sun if it's shining. Here in Berlin, the last 2 days we had sun. Now it's just back to dark and gray. Well, what can you do? A kind message from a friend, talk to someone, ring up your buddy in the club here inside the club, right? All of these little things. And I mean, it's too much to get into right now, but you can see all the resources that we have in here. So if you're a premium member, you have access to our 2-day retreat that I did 1.5 years ago. For example, here, 2.5 hours of the first day, then nearly 3 hours of training in the second day, exercises. You also have access to the 8 weeks course if you're a premium member, and the basic members get everything here below. So the weekly meetings and events, the daily rest and relaxation, where I talked about how important it is to ground your nervous system, to cater for the fact that you are constantly in fight or flight when you deal and suffer with your tinnitus, right? That's really, really important. So yeah, I mean, daily success stories where people post what's going well. And I'm really, really grateful for this and that people share so much and what's going well for them. But yeah, I really, really love this, and it's really useful for all the people in here. So if you can make it, if you want to join up for a free 7-day free trial, then you can just simply go to, I will show you right now, I'll pull it up, mytinnitus.club, and you will go all the way down below and then just select the package that you want. Basic is 47 a month, premium 97 a month, and coaching is 2 sessions with me every month, 297, including access to the premium and everything, of course. You click on try free, and you can select you want the monthly or the yearly, whatever you want. You want to save 23%, you go yearly. Otherwise, you go monthly. You click on try free, and you just put in all your details here. You register, you become a member, and you have 7 days for free. If you don't like it, which I don't think you will, because if you have tinnitus, you will absolutely love this, and it will be probably the most beneficial thing that you've ever done, which is what many of the people say who come on here. But yeah, I know that I'm not saying this. I mean, of course, it's supposedly paying my rent, my health insurance and everything, but it is from the bottom of my heart also the thing that I devote my time with. And in all honesty, and meaning this absolutely real, the thing that I pour my heart in, the thing that I got burned out for, that I continue to do because I believe in it and I love it. And I'm a single entrepreneur, so I haven't hired anyone else to be doing this. I'm doing this all on my own. I don't have like many of these other big YouTube channels who sell hearing aids and stuff. They have massive production teams and everything. I don't have any of that. I just have myself, and I built all of this. And yeah, I'm very grateful for it. I think I want to show it to you, not to be able to sell it or something like that. But if it's useful for you, then of course sign up and get a free trial. I want it to be most beneficial for you guys. And of course, I love hearing feedback on my channel, on the solution. If you want to do the coaching, I have a waiting list. The waiting list is open again. You'll find the link also in the link tree there. So the link tree is, let me see if I just click here in the, clicking here, then you can see this is the link tree. For example, when you want to get on the coaching waitlist, you can get added to the waitlist. Click on here, put your name and your email in, and I'll inform you as soon as there is a new free spot on the waiting list. Getting the free 4-day email course is also super easy. First name, last name in your email, and you get 4 emails for 4 days with some goodies that hopefully help you already change your perspective for you to learn what you can do in order to habituate. And then here is the thing that I'm so passionate about. This is the landing page where I share a little bit more about mytinnitus.club, why people have been quite successful with it, where you can get it, what the plans are, what the differences between the plans are, some more testimonials of what people said about it. And yeah, I mean, you know, if you're not very tech savvy, that's no problem. We'll help you get onboarded. You can, of course, come to the events. If not, they are always recorded and put up the next day, so you can listen to them, so you never miss one. You can cancel your membership at any time. Even if you have severe tinnitus, you're going to be benefiting from it. Your personal information is always safe. You don't need any special equipment or software. You just need a phone or your computer. And there are no hidden costs beyond the subscription fee, except if you want to go for one-on-one coaching. Of course, there'll be the regular coaching fees that apply. And yeah, so if you click on the link that I have here in the live stream or on most of my videos, let me stop sharing the screen, then you will find all of that information in that link tree, which, yeah, as I said, I also share it in most of my videos. And this week is Tinnitus Week, but I was actually invited to go to London for Tinnitus UK, to the big conference, but yeah, I was too tired, and my burnout story from last year told me not to do it. So I was like, okay, I'll definitely do another live stream. I'll talk about what habituation feels like in Tinnitus Week 2025. But my thing is, I'm going to stay with myself, putting your own oxygen mask on before assisting others. And at the moment, I need to do this before helping more people with tinnitus and driving mytinnitus.club to even more people and to get more people successfully habituated. And that's my goal, of course. But I need to watch out for myself. So I was quite honored to be invited by the Tinnitus UK charity to come to London, but I was like, nah, maybe next year. This year I'm pausing. I'm doing a live stream. Might go for a little walk. Then cooking for Stefania, my wife, and cook some nice fried tofu with some veggies, some rice, and some, in German we call it, what do you call it? The salad. It's called Feldsalat, field salad. Let me Google what it is in English. Or is there anyone German in the live? Feldsalat. Lamb's lettuce. There we go. Lamb's lettuce. Okay. Funny. Lamb's lettuce in English. Okay. Is that what all the lambs eat all the time? All right. Yeah. So we're going to have some lamb's lettuce, like some nice nuts and seeds with the salad, some feta cheese, and then some rice and veggies, and a good amount of deliciously fried tofu. So yeah, for some reason, a couple of weeks back, I eat meat like maybe once or twice a week, not very often, and I make sure to try to get quality meat. But for some reason, the last couple of weeks, I don't know what it was. We're also watching Clarkson's Farm a lot, the show from the UK, and I really quite enjoyed that. And for some reason, I was eating meat, and I was like, nah, don't enjoy this. Don't want to eat meat. Like, thinking about the animals, especially. Just, I maybe have a phase, right? Maybe it's a phase only. Probably it's a phase only. But I'm like, you know what? Let me just buy more tofu. And I mean, I still eat some meat once in a while. I'll like next week we'll probably make some burgers. My dad's coming to visit, so I'll probably make some burgers with him, some homemade burgers, because that's what I do love that. Making fries yourself, making the burger bread yourself, and all of that is really cool. So next week when my dad is here, I'm gonna go have some meat, yeah. But for some reason, I'm like, my wife's from Colombia, right? And you guys know in Colombia, you eat a lot of meat. So like many people in Colombia, it's like quite normal that you have meat every day, at least once. And for me, I was like, nah, I don't want to. So I'm like, no, I'm going to buy some tofu. And since my wife's at work and she's going to the office, I have the domain of cooking dinner because I'm here at home working here by myself. Yeah. All right. Instead of 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it's good that I always block my whole hour in order to do the stream with you guys. Yeah, I hope it's been useful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you don't have any further questions, then I'm going to be saving my energy. We have a new podcast episode coming out on Friday with the guys from Tinnitus, Jez and Howie. It's going to be fun. And I will see you guys maybe in the next live. Maybe in the next live, maybe not. I said that I want to do extra live sessions for the people who become supporters on my YouTube channel. So far, we have one supporter on the YouTube channel, one person subscribing for the $9.99 a month, supporting my work here on YouTube. Let's make it a goal. I'll post on Sunday. If we have 5 by Sunday, I will do a live stream next Wednesday. If we have 5 by next Wednesday, then I'll do another live stream. And people dropping off. You money hungry. People leaving the live stream. What are you doing? Don't exploit people with tinnitus. Yeah, I get that a lot. Part of why I got burnout as well, I think. Because, you just want to do something good. And some people earn millions in selling hearing aids to people with tinnitus. And other people actually try to do something good and then saying, well, if we do get a few more people subscribing and with the $9.99 per month and helping this channel grow and, allowing me maybe to get an editor so to get the quality of the videos better as well, then it's me exploiting people with tinnitus. Yeah. But if you have one of the biggest channels and you sell people $3,000 hearing aids without an indication, then you're just helpful. Yep, that's quite painful. And it has been painful for me for the last few years. So I think I'm going to make a video as well about what has been the most painful about growing and starting this business, so that you guys get a little bit of an idea what it has been like the last 6 years to deal with people with tinnitus. Because gosh, if I remember how I was with my tinnitus at the start, I wouldn't want to be dealing with myself back then every single day. And yet I deal with people with tinnitus, sometimes very difficult and very severe tinnitus every single day. So I've been talking about my therapist as well, who says like, you know what, we therapists, we have supervisors and we go to supervision, like a group therapy for therapists. Like, who's helping you? And I was like, that is smart. And I said to him, you are. And he's like, yeah, but then we also need to talk about it more often, about the frustrations, the difficulties of being someone in this space, in the space that is so full of anxiety and anger and frustration and this, there is no cure for tinnitus, stop saying there is, yeah. Yeah, Harley, thank you. Following my heart, absolutely. Although my heart last year would have said like, ooh, not sure what we do here, but I am following my heart. I'm staying honest and true to myself. And that's the most important thing. I'm staying honest and true to my values, because honestly last the longest. And I don't have to have the most successful channel. I don't have to have the most successful business in order to live the value of helping each tinnitus sufferer one by one. And that is what is most important for me, 100%. And I have the value of being genuine. And yeah, keeping on doing that. So that feels pretty good. So in that sense, this burnout and story last year was quite good in clarifying my values as well. Marius, sometimes I wonder if the T sensation is really benign. Could that be a damage in the brain's auditory system? There's no damage in the brain's auditory system. The only damage there is the faulty interpretation of a absent signal, a little bit like phantom pain, right? Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that a lot. There's our one subscriber, our one YouTube supporter. You're amazing and we need you. Thank you, Karen. Consider this a big hug, giving you a big hug. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. No, there is nothing wrong with your auditory cortex. It's a little bit like phantom pain, right? If you accidentally chop off a finger while cutting your favorite tofu, then it might very likely be that your brain still feels your finger, although it's not there anymore. And it's a little bit similar with tinnitus. I have more videos on that, but it's absolutely not something dangerous. It's just the interpretation of something absent that's not there, right? Because the little hair cells don't function anymore, but the brain says there should be something oncoming, and therefore it presents you with a tinnitus, but it's not dangerous, not at all. Ashish, I habituated once without doing anything. I didn't know I habituated after years, came back again. Since then, I've been stuck. I miss being in the habituated state. Yeah, man, I feel you. And we talked a lot about what you can do in order to, change and switch and to get from one stage. So I heard my heartbeat also. Is this very disturbing and stress for me? Yeah, I mean, many people hear their heartbeat. You should consult a doctor. Pulsatile tinnitus is something that you should consult your doctor about. But I mean, in certain positions, like when I bend down to tie my shoes, I can also hear my heartbeat in my ears, right? It's not very dangerous, not difficult. Could be sinus infection, could be congestion, could be allergies, could be a lot of stuff, right? So don't worry about that too much. But get it checked by a doctor. That's good. Alrighty, guys. I think I'll leave it for this week. I've said everything that I wanted to say. I wish you guys happy Tinnitus Week 2025. Thank you for coming on to the live. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being such lovely subscribers. I wish you all the best. Of course, as usual, this live stream is recorded and it is live on my channel in probably a couple of minutes. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Usually YouTube uploads this in a couple of minutes. So then all the people who came late or haven't been able to watch it, they're able to watch it afterwards. Okay, and let me know all your questions and comments for the next live stream, either under this video or I'm planning the next live stream soon on Sunday. Yes, Marius, you're absolutely my pleasure. And I'm planning the next live stream on Sunday, depending on how many members we already get. Right. All right. All the best, guys. I'll see you very soon, yeah? Okay, bye-bye. Bye, everyone.